Hi, everyone. I am so excited because today I am speaking with author Elisabeth Elo, and we are talking about her brand new book called Finding Katarina M. It came out March 19th, and I am so happy I read this book. Thank you so much, Elisabeth.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
I knew when I saw this cover like a month ago, I was like, yes, I'm going to read that book.
Good.
I love this cover. It's just, I don't know, it's like mysterious, I want to say. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yes. It was really fun to come up with the cover with the publisher and kind of try and capture the spirit of the book through this figure, with the coat streaming up behind her. And I love it too. So
I love the colors. And, part of me wants to see her face, because of reading her. Like, I want to see Natalie's face. But then I'm like, well, maybe we're not supposed to see Natalie's face. Maybe that's the point, right?
Yeah, I think that's what they do so often because, the reader identifies with Natalie. So you want her to be whoever the reader wants her to be, whoever
right.
the reader thinks she is. So, if you put a face up there, then it looks like, your cousin, Sue, and all of a sudden, the spell is completely broken.
Oh, I love that. I never heard that. That is funny because you're like, wait, my daughter looks like her.
Exactly.
Okay, so tell me about the title. Did you come up with the title?
I did. I came up with a title, and it took me a long time because I wanted to find something that would kind of unite the book, and the book is very unusual in the sense that it doesn't fit squarely into a particular genre. It starts off as a murder mystery, it turns into something else, and then it turns into something else. So you're kind of always kind of off balance as to what kind of book is this anyway. So
right.
I wanted to have a title that would point to, what the arc really is and what the spine of the story is. And I thought, well, it's really a journey. And for a long time I kept thinking, okay, journey to Siberia, journey of this, journey of that. And then I thought, no, that I wanted something more active. So then I went into finding, and then that all of a sudden it clicked and that made sense.
Yeah, and, I love the finding. I really do. Like, I thought it was perfect for this. But I was really shocked that Amazon didn't list it as historical fiction. But I guess, I was, thinking about it because I look at the genres after I read the book. And I'm like, I guess because, I don't know, because she's kind of in the present. I guess there were more in the present than the past. But I did think of it more as historical in some places. I don't know. They make up their own reasons. But then I liked, then it was like adventure. And I'm like, well, yeah, it is an adventure. So I get that. I get the adventure fiction.
Yeah. Well, of course, it opens with, in 1952, I think it is, with a very short prologue about Katarina, who is imprisoned in the Gulag prison and who assumes that she's going to lose her life there and I can tell you what this is because it's in the first two
right.
paragraphs of the book, which is she says, well, since I'm going to die anyway, I might as well die escaping. And so she then proceeds to make the commitment to herself to escape, but we really don't know whether she did it or not. And then the next scene where all of a sudden with her granddaughter, Natalie, and Natalie is a doctor in her office in Washington, D.C., and all of a sudden this young woman comes to her office and says, by the way, I'm your cousin, and our grandmother is alive and living in Siberia. And this is the first that Natalie has ever heard of that. And she's shocked. She's also thrilled because Natalie's mother, the daughter of Katarina, who was left behind in Kiev when Katarina was arrested and sent to the Gulag, she's always thought that she never had him. Her parents died. She always thought she was an orphan. And so now that here comes this news, and it's very exciting and also very strange. There's a lot of questions. What happened?
Yeah, I love Natalie so much. She starts off as this sweet doctor, and then she becomes very badass. Okay, and very quickly. And I'm like, I don't know if I could have been her. I don't know if I could have done what she did. But I think she surprised herself in this book, right?
Yes, absolutely. And kind of that's what I was playing with too, because I think of doctors and people who are very good in a narrow environment. I mean, Natalie is at the top of her game inside a hospital
Mm-hmm.
where she has studied and worked and has extraordinary skills and really fits that environment. But then who is she when she's not in that environment? That's the big question. And so she goes through all kinds of changes and really discovers a part of herself that she didn't know existed. And, she discovers that it's not that simple to say, oh, I'm just a doctor. I'm always the good guy. I'm always healing people. Well, maybe sometimes life throws things at you and you can't have that self-satisfaction anymore.
Yeah, and it's like she had this like safe environment in the hospital. I looked at it like looking back after I got done reading it, I went back and read the first couple of chapters and I was like, yeah, I forgot like she was in this safe zone, like no real boyfriend, no real like her life was very predictable every single day, and she went to see her mom once a week, and then it's like her life just gets blown apart where it's like her safety net is gone, right?
Right, completely. And then she's also facing things that she never in a million years would have imagined that she would ever, situations she never would have imagined she would have been in. And if I did my job right, then the reader doesn't imagine it either.
Yeah, you absolutely did. And I kept thinking, especially in the middle, to the 3/4, the end of the way, the book was like, all this research. I did read that you went to Russia, right?
Yes, I did. And when I decided to write about Siberia, I thought, well, I can't possibly write about it unless I've been there. I think there are places you can write about if you haven't necessarily been there. You could probably write about Paris, for example. Of course, it's better to have gone, but it's a European city. You already know a lot about it. But Siberia is so different, and that everything about it is different. It's kind of a frontier for Westerners. I think it's in some ways more exotic than other areas of the world. We don't usually see what's going on there. There aren't a lot of TV shows or cameras there,
right,
showing us what life is like in Siberia. So to go there, it's really quite a culture shock for me, and it was obviously for Natalie as well.
I thought you did such a great job with the food, though. Like describing some of their delicacies and some of their, like, it was so intriguing to me to learn that stuff, because I can't imagine it, I can't imagine. And it was like, I love that part of it. I mean, you really made me feel like I was there experiencing.
Oh, that's great.
Great. You did an amazing job with that. And so I felt like everything that Natalie was experiencing, for the first time, like I was too, because it was foreign to me too, so I loved how you did that.
Great. I'm happy to hear that.
Now, this is your second novel. And, for everybody, this is like, when I went back and saw this, 352 pages. I couldn't believe it. I really thought it was longer. You packed so much information into a 350-page book that I was shocked. I was like, wow, that it was like I read it fast, but still, like it just was, when I look back at that story, I'm like, you did such a great job in making it tight. There was no fluff. It was like everything, I read every word of it. And, so I also have to bring that up because you don't find that very often.
You mean in terms of I'm not skipping things?
Yeah, well, just, like me not skipping things as a reader, because we have a tendency as fast readers especially, that we're like, oh, doesn't matter, but I found like at the end of it, I was like, wow, that is great. Like I read the whole entire thing and it was like, it was so tight. It was so awesome. And I love pointing that out to authors when they do it because I think it's very difficult.
Well, I skipped a lot of things too, and a lot of times I'm reading books and I'm flipping through the pages to get ahead and see what's coming next, and I've always said to myself, well, I think I just have a really short attention span,
right?
And so when I'm writing for myself because I'm thinking if I bore myself, then it's bad,
right?
So
then it comes
I have
across.
to,
right?
Yes. So I have to write a book that will keep me interested.
Yeah, no, I mean, I could tell how much fun you were having writing this. Like I felt like you were having as much fun with it as I was as the reader, and I love when I can pick that up.
Oh, absolutely. And I wouldn't want, I think when you're a writer, there's a lot of things that you forego. One of them is most of the time fame and money and social status, and you spend a lot of time alone. I mean, there's a lot of downsides to it. But I think the upside to it is that you do something that you really want to do, and it's fun.
Right.
So if you're not having fun doing it, or at least not even fun, but just if you're not really engaged in it, in every page, then it's just a job. Then it's just another job, So,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I
did have fun with it.
Because it's a lonely job, when you're sitting there writing sometimes, it can be, I find that as a reader, because I read so much, I'm like, I need to get outside. I've been sitting here all day, But yeah. I can only imagine as the writer, like, you got to get up and you're like, I need to get some air. I've been at my desk for how long now? But, I just sensed through the whole book that you were having so much fun with her, so much fun with her experience and sharing it with us, and and your knowledge of the area. It was just so much fun to read.
Good. I'm so glad you feel that way. You never know how people are going to react, of course, when you put something out there into the world. It could be anything. When people say everything. They really do. They'll come at a book from such interesting perspectives.
Yeah.
So it's really nice to hear that you enjoyed it.
Yes. And so this is your second one, and this came out in March, so you're still on, promoting it and everything, but are you in the process of writing your next one?
I am, yes and no. I have half of 2 books that are ongoing, but they're more conventional stories, and I'm not sure. And right now I'm not committed to either one, which is a crazy way to feel, having written half of 2 different books. So I'm a little bit adrift, actually.
Well, you know what? That's good, because then you can see which one wins, right?
Exactly. Or I might just need to do something completely different,
Right.
I just might need that kind of a project. Like I feel like this book set in Russia, it's just its own thing. It just is its own project. It's not like anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like sometimes I need to find something that feels very original to me, to keep me occupied.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, I am so happy I got to read it. I mean, it is a fun book. And everybody, I just want to let you know, I'm going to put down the IndieBound link below so you can find it at your local bookstore. Then I'm going to put the Amazon, because you can buy it today if you want it today and get it on your Kindle. And then I also will have all of Elisabeth's links listed below. And it was so much fun to be able to talk about this book with you, too. I love that. I love when I get done with a book that I get to talk to you about it, because I'm with being able to talk about it. So even though we don't give spoilers, but that's okay, just talking about the book is fun. So thank you so much. And whenever your next one comes out, just find me. I will read it.
Oh, that's great. Thank you very much, Michelle. I enjoyed talking to you.
Awesome. Have a great day, Elisabeth.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.